So I guess halfway through spring camp, what are you happy about, pleased with so far?
I think I think you guys observed today just the flow of practice, and not as sloppy. It's even with the young guys, they went out there and did some really good things. It's fun to see Carter Jones throw some nice balls and Whoopty go up and make some plays at wide receiver. So really more of an emphasis on our young guys today, especially, and just trying to find out what we've got in those guys, and that and some of the transfers, like let them play and get a little bit of a feel for how we do things and who we are. And so I've just been really pleased with the coachability of the players. I think that's been a really positive thing. I think the energy's been really good. The effort's been good, and I think that it kind of my objective more is to I kind of know some of the things that we have. Now let's find out what these young guys are capable of, who maybe we can count on a little bit more in the fall. And then obviously we got to look ahead towards, what are the pieces that we need to add to put the roster together that we want to have.
What has been the level of receptiveness from the players this year compared to last year?
Yeah, I think, they were receptive last year, but it was that kind of dipping the toe in the water, and I think about how much kind of inconsistency there'd been in this program over a period of time, me being the third head coach in 4 years here when I walked in a year ago. And, the guys that have been in the program for a while, that's hard. That's hard for them to say, I've heard this song and dance before, and I'm going to dive in with, both feet and kind of take it on. And I think now the kids understand who we are, what our objective is to help them grow, not just as players, but as young men, and what the standard of performance is. And so I think that part of it's been totally different.
Dues on Coach Gilbertson, I guess, how immediately after Coach Levick left did you know that you wanted him to take on?
Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of things that David showed me in just because of the circumstances and the situation that Matt was operating under. And so, he would make corrections on calls during practice, or if Matt wasn't present, he was the guy that was going to take the call sheet and kind of jump in, and had that comfort level with working with the quarterbacks on a day-to-day basis. And I've said this before, I actually think that it's surprising to me that it took him this long to get an opportunity to be a play caller. And I think that he's very mature, been around the game a long time, and understands things from the run game and the pass game. And so I also think he's got some really veteran quality coaches around him, and that was the objective. I want to prop him up and make sure that he's got the resources, both from an athletic player standpoint, but also from the kind of intellectual property standpoint. Like, these guys know what they're doing and they can help him, and that's been a really good fit.
We talked with Joey, and he's kind of overseeing a pretty young and experienced secondary, but that was the same thing last year, and it turned out pretty well. I guess what gives you hope about that secondary, and belief that it will be as
good? He had an old and experienced secondary last year, right? You had a lot of older players, but that either hadn't played much football or hadn't played here in our system. And so, he's a really good technical coach, and he'll get those guys to play the way that we want them to play. It's just going to take some time. And we feel really fortunate to have a guy like A.J. Odom's a veteran player that, has played a ton of football and is a really quality starter for us. And now we've got to kind of put some pieces around. And so you see us mixing and matching. You see Abercrombie out there. Ed Rambo's being held out because he had an off-season injury, and he's a veteran guy that we're kind of counting on. But it'll be interesting to see how it comes together, because there's that star nickel position that's kind of, okay, who's the best fit for that? We've got Hayden McDonald coming in that's a veteran player, was an FCS All-American that is finishing up his degree at Columbia right now. So that's going to be a piece that's added, and it's kind of now it's a little bit of let's kind of throw the cocktail together and shake it up and see what works. But day to day, it's been a little bit of a mix and match. We feel really good about AJ. I think Murvin Kenion's being a really good addition. A guy that's played really well and really matured is Bishop. I mean, he's come a long ways. And so, we're young, we're inexperienced. We're going to take our lumps out there here and there. We got a veteran group of quarterbacks and some older receivers. And so, iron sharpens iron. They'll get better every day.
What was the conversation like with Coach Mastro as you were trying to get him to come back on the field and be a position coach?
It was, hey, Jim, you really ought to be coaching ball, this. And I think that's the truth. I mean, at this stage in our careers, we kind of are who we are. And he's a hugely impactful member of our staff in a variety of ways. And his connections to the community and what he can do from an external relations standpoint, we're not losing that. But we're gaining a guy who has so much experience, especially at that position and at this place. And he understands what it takes to be successful here. And he's a fantastic coach, and I think the players are really responding to him well. And I think he's enjoying himself more. I mean, anecdotally, it's like watch him and he's got a smile on his face and that competitive spirit's coming out more. And so he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Now, as you guys put the headsets on, you and your coaching staff, as you did shake up a couple pieces, move some guys around, how critical is this time as you guys kind of learn one another in that sense?
Yeah, it's the same but different, right? I mean, there's like some people are in some different seats, but we all kind of understand the communication patterns. And, I'm probably the one that should shut up the most on the headsets, to be honest with you. But that's I don't get to do a whole lot, so I can be critical of calls here and there on scrimmages, but it's been good. I mean, I think having a guy like Rob Christoph come in and putting him in kind of in the room with Nico's where he's supposed to be. I mean, that's home base for him. Very not kind of like I talked about with Jim. I mean, he's got a lot to offer in that position, and so kind of that combination of like Tevis working with Pyam and Parker sliding in and working with Joey and. It's kind of veteran coach with a younger guy, and it's a really good dynamic, and there's not a lot of egos there. Those guys understand at the end of the day there needs to be one voice in those rooms, and that was kind of one of the issues last year when we split the back end and we split the front, and I've always said I wasn't going to do that. I did it, and I'm not going to do it again, and so that's been really good.
Now, as you guys are about to break for almost 2 weeks, I mean, what do you want to see in this last week, per se?
Yeah, so, we'll have a light practice tomorrow, do some corrections, and get these guys moving around. Let them enjoy spring break, but by design, I didn't want to come back and try to put that last week right after spring break. I wanted to get back in the weight room, get some conditioning in, be able to do some skill development, do some meetings, do some install walkthroughs. So we kind of steal like a little bit of an extra time with these guys and then put the pads back on and finish strong. So I think it gives them, we ran them hard. We had 5 days a week for 2 weeks and gave them the weekend off. Now we got a couple weeks to get their bodies back. But they won't be completely away from football when they come back.
Did you talk about the Gridiron Girls?
Yeah. So I think that's something that a lot of organizations, a lot of football organizations do, and I think one of the things that we're really talking a lot about is this our town, our team kind of initiative, and moms are the ones that take their sons to football practice. Moms are the ones that write the check for the Spirit Pack, and to be able to engage with them, and number one, promote the game, but also have some fun. And let them know that who we are, that this community, that they're a part of our football community here in Northern Nevada, and it's always probably one of the more enjoyable things that we do. I mean, they're not there's some really intense football, moms and fans that are females, but for the most part, they're a blank slate and they're curious, and so it's a lot of fun, and so we're looking forward to doing that, and I think it should be a blast. What's that? The 12th? Is that when we're doing that? April 12th, I believe. And it should be a blast. So we kind of have the Petonio. It's a big football day, right? And Friday night we go down, we have our scrimmage, then we have the Petonio clinic on Saturday morning, and then we roll that right into, margaritas and football talk in the evening. So it'll be a blast.
How excited is your wife to get out there?
She is kind of she's the catalyst behind a lot of this stuff, and she's like, when are we doing this? And I said, year one, give me a break here. Let's get this thing off the ground, and so we're excited to do that. And she's always a willing participant, and maybe some tackling drills or something like that. I'm on IR, so she can't hit me this year, so that's good.
Blended or on the rocks if you get a margarita?
I'm not a margarita guy, but we'll have both. How's that sound? You can come, Chris.
I do like
yeah, I'm down with the Browns. So
I do want to ask about a couple of the OGs of the program. You don't get a lot of 5th and 6th year seniors in college football anymore. You've got Thomas Whittier, I think's
106 years old.
Magical's 5th year. I mean, how important are those guys, and how rare is it just to see guys stick through, especially with what Nevada's been through over there?
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for those guys. I mean, going through 3 different coaches. You talk about Nevada guys; those are Nevada guys, right? This place means something to them. This program means something to them. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into it for a long time, and I have a ton of respect for them and the leadership that they bring and the attitude that they have and being open to, hey, this is different, but it can still be good. And that's, it's fun to watch them. And it's still ball. They're out there today having a good time and encouraging the young guys. And we got to be a little bit careful with their bodies, but we'll get them there. And I'm really thrilled to have those guys still around.
Obviously, it's a long-term build as well, but how much do you want to give them some success in their last year, given that they did stick with this program?
Yeah, I think that's really critical. Not just for those two, but the Marcus Bellins and the Chubba Purdy's, guys that maybe didn't have their whole career here, but this is their last ride. And we want to make it something that they can remember and they can leave a legacy that's going to help us build on. And so, we don't win any trophies or get any rings for spring football, but this is laying the foundation for what we want to do in the fall.
You've had 2 weeks of camp so far. Overall, what's been a couple days that you've thought of, and yes, this has been amazing. Let's continue to do this forward. And what's been a few days where okay, we got to go back to the chalkboard.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an evolution. Like I tell those guys all the time, I'm like, spring ball, let's keep the main thing the main thing. We want to focus on fundamentals and DNA plays. That's really what we got to do. When we get away from that, that's when it starts to get a little sloppy. And so I think our coaches have really listened and really worked to build practice plans that are going to reflect that mindset of being a fundamental-based football program, doing the little things that are going to lead to success down the road, and not trying to have the entire playbook in. And so because we are, in some respects on defense, very young, but collectively it's new. Even the guys that are stepping into play roles that were here a year ago, they weren't playing 40, 50, 60 snaps a game. And so taking our time on the install, coming back and layering it, okay, hey, we're not going to have install today, but we're going to go back and do install 1 again, or we're just going to pull the pads off and just focus almost specifically on fundamentals. And so that's really been the emphasis, and I think it's been a positive.
I guess, yeah, just general thoughts so far as you're past halfway point of spring camp.
Camp's going well. We got a lot of guys doing a lot of good things, and I'm excited. It's a new bunch. We have a lot of new faces, so a lot of turnover, so a lot of learning, taking place thus far.
Yeah, I mean, basically all new starters. So I guess that might not be the most comforting feeling, but I guess what does that offer the guys who are coming back and the guys that you added in terms of that hunger for playing time looks out there?
It offers exactly that, an opportunity. It's a fair, opportunity for everybody to play. So, we're going to roll them out there and see what happens.
A little different role for you now, overseeing the whole secondary with Kane kind of moving more to just a true DC. I mean, how does that change your role? What are the challenges in having an even bigger group?
It doesn't really change my thought process. We'll attack it. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to play fast. We're going to be attacking. We're going to play with a high football IQ, and we're going to tackle. But the main thing is keeping the main thing. And we got to compete every day. We're not running from the fire. We're running to it. We want all the smoke. We back down from no man, no program, foreign or domestic. We want the smoke, and that's the mentality. And once you learn how to compete, schematics of it is easy, because at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're inspiring. We're motivating people to do what they want to do, and that's to compete and win. And we'll put them in those situations. I guarantee it.
We go back to last spring, there were a lot of questions about the secondary, and a lot of people stepped up. Obviously, Mike Choate was all conference. Chad played really well at a new position. Keaton might be drafted. I guess, what do you think were the biggest steps toward you guys building a really good secondary last year that can kind of prove to this group you can do it again?
I don't think there's too much difference from last year's team and this year's team. Last year's team, we had a whole bunch of unknowns. Mike Coates didn't really play a lot. Chad Brown didn't really play a lot. To your point, Mike Coates, all conference. Chad went on, and he put himself in a pretty good position. Keaton didn't play a lot. Now he's getting ready to get drafted. So it's the same motto. At the end of the day, it's you versus you. If you learn how to compete with yourself and you can be the best version of you day in and day out, the results in the field and the results, more importantly, in life will take care of themselves. And that's what we bring. We breed confidence, but we work. So if you know what you're doing, you can play fast. If you can play fast and physical, you give yourself a chance.
You guys had some guys coming back, but obviously you had to hit the portal as well. I guess, what are you looking for when you go into the portal to know that that person will be a right fit in your scheme and for this program?
Well, in the era of the portal, I give no secrets. I say nothing. But I'm going to tell you like this. As long as I'm here in Nevada, we will be physical. We will have a mentality, and we will compete.
Were there certain, Coach Joe kind of talked about, we needed a certain number of reps. We needed a blue-collar mentality, I guess. Are you seeing maybe that blue-collar mentality in the locker room a little bit more than maybe last year? It seemed like that was an emphasis.
No doubt. But again, Coach Cho said what he said, and I'm going with the head man. I'm not giving my sauce away.
What do you want to accomplish by the end of spring camp to know that you guys are in a good spot going into the summer and then fall camp?
I think you have to identify who your playmakers are. Who are your war daddies? Who are the guys that are going to be leaders? Who are the guys that can make plays? Identify skill sets. Because if you understand the skill sets, you know where to place people, and that's all you're trying to do. Does this piece work here, or does this piece work here? What group works well together? Who communicates? Who's a leader but not vocal? Who's vocal? Got to figure out those team things. You got to figure out who your individuals are as far as your players. So this is the time as the teacher, because that's what we are as coaches. We're teachers and mentors, to find out who your personnel is. Sometimes you think it's to the left, or it's the person to the left, and it's the person in the middle or to the right. So in spring ball, you got to identify.
A different feel for you at all going into your second year at Nevada?
Comfort. We've had some blood, sweat, and tears with this coaching staff. You have water underneath the bridge. You have a better feel for how people are going to react and respond to things. And I think communication is everything, right? You do a year, you're kind of figuring it out, feeling it out, and now it's coming back, same defensive staff. Let's rock. What are we waiting on? Let's get to it.
What were the lessons learned in all the close losses? I mean, how close you guys were, how much improvement we saw on the field, but the record not being there. What did you want the players to take away, and what did the coaching staff look at to try and improve so those close losses turn into close
Right.
wins?
Well, I think about everything. It's all about culture, right? You got to learn how to push through. I think sometimes in last years we were trying not to lose the game instead of trying to win the game. And I think the mentality is their attitude is going to be a reflection of who we are as coaches and our attitude. I think we did a good job of getting the right guys in, but just pushing over that edge, details. It's always going to come down to the details. And if you go back and you look at it, it was typically the same people in the same situations that cost us. But again, you're coaching it and allowing it to happen, so it always falls back on us, and we're welcoming and excited for the opportunity.
Could you talk about your relationship with Rob Christoph a little bit and just what his veteran
So-
tenure brings?
So going back to RC, so he was the linebacker coach when I was a corner at Montana State. So there's a lot of history there. He's like the older, I'm not going to say old, but he's the older wise owl. He brings a lot of wisdom, a lot of ball, and it's been great to having him back around and, seeing him again.
What is it like adding, a couple new coaches into the fold like that after a lot of you guys have been together here for that first full year?
I think it's great because you get a fresh perspective, right? Somebody may see something that you didn't see. It may confirm, what you already thought, or it could be something different. So I think anytime you get a fresh, blood in there, as they would say, I think it can always be a good thing. As long as you're open to growth, like we tell the young men, be open to growth and just listen to the information, keep what you want, throw out what you don't.
What you've been through 2 weeks of camp almost. Tomorrow's the final day for all that.
Right.
What have been some of the days that you look back on and been like, yes, this is like exactly what we're looking for. Let's continue to do this. And what's been some days that's been like, okay, it's been a little rough.
Right.
Let's rework this.
The thing I love about this group is they're eager for information. They want to learn. You give it to them, they soak it up like a sponge, and they're trying to do it. They're not resistant. I think sometimes when you come in as a new staff and you still have carryovers from the old staff, some people are resistant or existent, right? They're either fighting it or they're just kind of just there. We don't have that. Everybody's fighting for the same thing, pulling in the same direction, and you can feel that with the energy. So on the days where it goes well, you can see, even when they don't do it right, they're trying to. And as a coach, that's all I can ask for. It's not going to be perfect right away, but play fast, play physical, and play with an attitude. And the days that we don't see that, maybe they're thinking too much, right? So they're not able to play fast. If you can play fast, play with a little bit of to you, you're going to be all right. We're going to tell you where to go and where they're going to be. That's what we do at Elite Clip, so we're getting there. It's baby steps. It's all a process, and trust me, we have a long way to go, but I like where we're at.
So back at inside linebacker, how comforting is that for you?
Feels good. It was a little adjustment at first, but I'm back at home, and so I'm excited to be able to throw all the knowledge that I have, good and bad, back to the guys, see if I can help them, take that next step. And so it's been fun so far.
Probably one of the hardest positions there in all of college football, starting inside linebacker for Alabama. I guess, what did you learn from that experience that you're trying to pass down to these guys as you get ready for the season?
One thing is just getting these guys to understand, playing backer, you're in a mix of everything. And so getting them to understand you're going to make mistakes and, try to have that next play mentality, but at the same time, just having that mental mindset of not getting too high, getting too low, because we're playing a lot. We're in a mix of everything, run and pass, and so just having that even kill mindset, just trying to get them guys to get there mentally this spring. So I feel like whenever we get into summer, when things go bad or things go good, we're always even kill. And so that's really one thing right now that I'm focused on besides technique and stuff like that. But mentally, that's what I'm working towards.
That position here had kind of been defined by Drew and Naki the last few years. They're not here anymore. So I guess, what do you think of your personnel and I guess, the guys you're working with this season?
We brought in a few guys in EJ and Najee. They're all, from Austin. I know he's not, practicing this spring, but he's doing a good job on the side of helping the young guys, helping the older guys to get, used to how we do things here. And so they're all working their butts off. They're all different in their own way, but right now it's just trying to find out who can do what and who can't do what, so that way we can strengthen the weaknesses and keep going as far as all the strengths. But it's been good, though. It's been good.
How much more comfortable are you? Just you were kind of in scramble mode last spring as you took this job right before it started.
It's kind of the same, honestly, and I love being at backer because that's what I played. but also I get to learn as well, because Coach Choate has coached inside linebackers for years, and to be able to, pick his brain and see how he sees things has been exciting for me. But at the same time, I'm just excited, man, just to be able to go out and, throw out the knowledge and things that I've gained and earned over time throughout playing. It's just been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
Was there a coach either at Alabama or in the NFL that you had a big impact on you and maybe like helped you turn a corner as the kind of player you became?
In college, Kirby Smart, because he was my freshman year. We had a linebacker coach in James Willis. Nothing against him, but I like to use the analogy. He taught us from linebacker down, but with Kirby being a DB guy, he taught us from DB down. That makes sense. And so it made us better football players. We was able to play faster because we knew where guys was going to be on the field at all times. And so in college, it was him. And then in the NFL, being around Marvin Lewis, legendary Hall of Fame coach, it just took my mind to a whole nother level, just on how he saw things.
I'm sure you're not surprised at how Kirby's done at Georgia then?
No.
Did you foresee that happening?
No. I expect that from him. He's high intense, really demanding. I've learned a lot from him, and it's weird because I step back and I hear myself talking to the guys, and I hear him coming, talking through me. It's weird, him and Coach Saban, but it's been good. It's been good.
What does it mean to you to maybe be that guy for your players as they try and become starters or all conference players or play in the league?
And that's what I want. That's what I want. I want these guys to understand that one is bigger than ball. It's not just all about the X's and O's. I care about you outside of the game as well, because that's what Coach Smart was to us. He was that big brother / father figure / coach, and so I want to be that all in one for these guys to know like we're in this together. And so being able to go through that with Coach Smart, Coach Saban, and other coaches, and be able to pass that back, that is a goal for me.
Obviously, the middle linebacker is usually the quarterback of the defense,
Right.
has the green dot, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you need from your guys' position this year to be successful in 2025?
Just play free. Play free. Not playing so uptight. Play free. Like I said, understanding we're going to make mistakes because we do have the green dot. We are the quarterback of the defense, and so getting them guys to play free. And when you play free, you play fast. And so I'm excited for these guys. They've taken the bulls by the horns and they're running with it. A lot of things we got to get better at, a lot of things we're really good at. And so we just stay an even keel and getting better at everything. And so I'm excited for us this year.
Yeah, being a Bay Area guy, how familiar were you with this program and just the region?
Yeah, so honestly, like growing up, I honestly wanted to play here. I came on a visit when I was a junior in high school for their junior day. So, I know a lot about the Nevada culture. My friend Carson Strong played quarterback here. He was just telling me like the strong tradition they have here and the winning. So we're trying to get back to that for sure.
So Jay Norvell would have been the head coach?
Yeah.
Offer just never came? Or?
Nah, it never came. Never came. Was waiting for it, but I'm glad I'm here now.
And like 7 years later.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I guess what does it mean to you to be a part of the Wolfpack, put on the silver?
Yeah, honestly, it's just a blessing. Just grateful to be here. My family get to come to the games. It's my last year, so just being here under Coach Choate, I'm just excited for what he has in store for the season. All the guys that we got coming in, we're gonna make a lot of plays this year for sure.
I know Carson did some 7-on-7 with Maurice Jones-Drew's team. Is
Yeah.
that kind of how you guys?
Yeah. Maurice Jones-Drew is actually like my family, so
Okay.
yeah, like a family friend. And my cousin actually is like he runs that whole organization. So yeah, he's actually the safety coach at Sac State now. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know like Carson kind of credits them for like getting him on the radar
Yeah.
and stuff.
It's crazy because like you wouldn't think like a 7-on-7 team to really prepare you the way they did, but we watched film every day, like a college football program. So I feel like that's why we got ahead of a lot of other teams out there. So
How would you describe your journey to get to the FBS level?
it was a long one for sure. I've always known that I belong here, just my talent, like over the years. But everybody's journey is different. It's God's timing and everything like that. So I'm just grateful I'm here now.
When you left Sac State, I guess what were some of your options? Or were you like, I want to like be it close to home, be at a place?
Yeah,
like that?
so I had a decent amount of options, but Nevada obviously stood up the tape for me. Coach Choate, just his his rowdiness, I could say, like he got that dog mentality. That's kind of like what I'm coming from JUCO and everything like that. So I feel like I blend in well here. So right off the bat, I just committed on the visit.
So you were saying you got hurt in that game?
Yeah, a couple years
not
ago.
Great memories of that stadium, or good memories
Yeah,
because you won. I don't know.
yeah, a couple years ago, got hurt on this field, but you know, everything happens for a reason. Maybe that was a sign. You know, see, I'm here now, healthy. You know, just ready to make some plays on the field this year.
Seems like secondary pretty wide open with all these starters gone. I guess, what do you hope to bring the group, and what do you need to show the coaches to show that you deserve to be playing a lot?
Yeah, leadership. One of the things Coach Choate, Coach Thomas, Coach Ione, they emphasized to me coming in is just being a leader, being an older guy, just being a veteran. We got a lot of young guys in the room, so just bringing them along. We got a lot of early enrollees coming in right now. So just giving them a few pointers out there, and also just my playmaking ability. I feel like just my IQ of the game. I have the ability to fill spots on the field, so like a lot of plays gonna come this year for sure. So. Yeah.
You guys have played FBS teams when you were at lower level, but I mean, do you feel like there's something to prove that you could play at this level, or do you feel like you've already proven that to yourself?
Honestly, no. My thing is just to come out there and just compete at the highest level I can. Help my team win. That's the biggest thing for me. It's not really like a chip on my shoulder because like I've been playing, like you just said, I've been playing against FBS competition my whole career. So every game we treat it the same. You study their plays the same. You just go out there and execute it.
How do you feel like all of your different stops now will help prepare you to play here at Nevada?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing for me is adaptation, just being able to adapt to playbooks. So I've been to Sac State, Idaho, City College, San Francisco. So being here now, just learning the different playbooks, and I'm able to learn the playbook pretty fast. Because every playbook is the same, but it's just different terminology. So it's just getting the hang of that, just coming in and being ready to play. So yeah.
What has your family's support meant to you on your journey?
It's meant everything to me, honestly. I got my mom, my dad, my little brother looking up to me. So even my little cousin. So my parents, they've always just whatever I put my mind to, they always gonna follow me. So that just meant the world to me because they believe in me so much, and I'm here now, just got my degree, still being able to chase my dreams. So that's the biggest thing for me, for sure.
I was just to say, you said Nevada's kind of been your most fun stop. I know it's
Yeah.
early, but what has it been about this program that you're enjoying yourself so much?
Honestly, just the team, like just coming in, like it's hard to get adapted to everybody on the team, and I feel like everybody welcomed me with big arms, and it was just everybody had the same goal in mind coming in this year. Because last year, obviously it's not what the fans want it, but this year we're coming to turn that around. You can see it on everybody's faces, the way we practice. Everybody practice hard. It's just high competitive energy out there every day. So, it's just exciting, and I'm ready for it for this season.
You said you already got your bachelor's degree. Where did you get that in?
I got my bachelor's in sports management.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So you're
for
just
sure.
taking classes now? Or
Yeah, I'm taking like a second bachelor's in kinesiology. I'm continuing it from Sac State. So, just taking extra classes with that. But hopefully, like after football, I'm gonna chase football as long as I can. But after football, I want to be an athletic director along the way. So that's something I want to do.
You talked about how the team, competitive spirit, all this kind of stuff, good vibes and everything. Over the last 2 weeks, what have been some of the moments that have stood out to you that have been like, yes, this was the right decision for me?
We had a situation, you guys probably know, it was after practice where Kaysen and Marcus, Kaysen and Marcus, they got into it after practice, just competitive. And Coach Choate was like, any other coach would just shut the practice down, but Coach Choate was like, line it up, let's go, one-on-one, into practice. And, that just fired me up because, it's just a little different culture. And like I said, like it just builds off that dog mentality, like just dog versus dog, mano a mano. Like that's how it is every day. So, yeah, that was exciting for me.
Sac State on the schedule this year. What do you feel like that game's going to
be like? For sure. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to have my whole family here. I'm going to treat it like every other game. I already know like they're going to come out, try to, get me off my game, but I'm not worried about that. Just come out, do my game, play my part, make some plays out there. So excited for that day.
As we said, it is a pretty new secondary. Anybody kind of like catching your eye and kind of showing you like they deserve to be out there with you?
Yeah, one of my guys, AJ Odoms, he's a transfer from UTEP. He's a veteran as well. Me and him, we hang out a lot outside of football, so we got a lot of chemistry there. And Bishop Turner also, he's been here for a couple years, but now it's his time to shine. I feel like he's going to make a lot of plays for sure.
Is it kind of weird being a first-year guy here, but also being one of the older guys? So, like, you do kind of have to be that leader, even though you've only been here for a couple months.
I don't think it's weird because I kind of was in the same situation last year at Sac State, being an older guy, transfer. So I'm just trying to carry on like I did last year, just come in, be a leader off rip, and, make an impact off rip. So that's the biggest thing.